Vanya came to me and said, I know you've been doing some of this. Why don't you do a workshop for Laurent Vanya? And I said, okay. And part of the reason that she went to me is that Wallace and I, Wallace in the top, Wallace, the guy in the jacket, that's Wallace there. Wallace Hammond and I have been playing together in a band called the Black Ox for many years, and we usually jam every Monday night. But because of COVID, we've been not able to do that, and I took it upon myself to find a way to create an online environment in which we could actually do the jamming. And right around the same time, Ellen Waterman and Michael Waterman's been doing online jamming for years. We'll talk about that in a minute. Ellen also, as a professor of music now at Carleton, has been working on online jamming. There are many people trying to do things on online jamming, and people are settling on different platforms. And the purpose of this workshop is to look at some of the platforms that people have settled on and give some concrete examples of what it's actually like to try and play music online. So we're going to be doing some talking, but we're also going to be doing a little bit of playing. And we're going to be moving from platform to platform. What the platform we're on right now is a Jitsi server running on a Jitsi service running on a server in a secret location in downtown St. John's that I manage, and I wanted to set it up nearby to all of the Blackhawks so that we would have the least amount of latency due to physical distance as possible. Now, it's kind of ironic that the fact is all packets routing from one ISP to another in St. John's actually go all the way to Montreal and back. So the illusion of being on a neighborhood network-wise is actually just that. It's an illusion. But at any rate, we have experience. We've been jamming now the last few weeks finally, because it took me a long time to get this damn thing going. And we've had some good experiences with it. It took us a while to figure out basic things like just listening, and we'll talk about that as we go. Now, where am I? Anyway, this Jitsi platform is the one that I settled on. Many people use Zoom. We'll be doing a Zoom meeting later on in the workshop, and but first of all, I'm going to continue with my introductions. Michael Waterman is a visual and audio artist who's been doing really interesting stuff with a particular group named Manita Carcano for many years, and in particular, they've been doing online jamming via radio, and that's that's what we would call a really high latency platform, where the delay between sending and receiving can be, upwards of the tens of seconds and things like that. We'll get Michael to tell us about that later on. Ellen is formerly the Dean of Music here at Memorial University, and now the Helmut Kalman Chair for Music in Canada at Carleton University. And she's been doing a really cool project, which you can find called OMER, Online Music Ensemble Research. Michelle is going to put in the comments section of the YouTube stream, she's going to put a link to a GitHub page that I've set up for this purpose. It's got some words and some links and so on about the kinds of things we're going to be talking about and what we're going to be doing, and you can find links to all of the things we're talking about on that page. All right. So why don't we jam for a little bit, just to sort of, okay? All right. Okay. So that illustrated a number of the kind of key issues with online jamming. The first of all is being able to hear yourself and everybody else when you're in the meeting. Unlike, so this particular version of the server, most of these platforms, the teleconference platforms, have features that in particular are optimized for speaking. And they do various things like automatic gain control, automatic echo cancellation, high-pass filter, noise suppression, and various other sorts of audio processing. And the result is that they are terrible for playing music, because some of these things will do stuff like if somebody starts to speak over another, then one of them will be suppressed, that kind of thing. So there's that's a feature of the automatic gain control, for example. It makes playing music difficult. So I've in the server configuration, I've disabled all of those things, and that's why, for example, Ellen and Michael and Wallace are all hearing echo. Now, why I'm not hearing echo, I don't really know, but anyway. How about the latency? Did you guys experience the latency there? Was there any? No.
It's hard to tell when you're doing this kind of free improvisation.
Yeah.
But one benefit of the echo for me was I felt like I had reverb.
That's nice. Yeah. I find when I do experience echo on this one, which I do sometimes, it's basically like a little slapback. It's not very much there at all. Why don't we try something rhythmic to really emphasize the kind of lag we're talking about here. Wow, that wasn't so hard at all. Amazing. I listened to a sample of your ensemble, Ellen, recorded through Jack Tripp. That's on SoundCloud. I listened to that this morning.
Soundjack,
sorry, yeah, which is under the hood. It's Jack Tripp, I believe. Anyway, and the struggle with the latency is clear. It's really clear, and we'll hopefully when we migrate to another platform now, we'll see some of that here as well. Let's see. It's 20 after. Shall we move to another meeting, and then I'll stop talking and you guys can do some talking? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to leave this meeting, and I'm going to start a meeting on the Jitsi Meet servers that are somewhere in the United States. So it'll be the same platform, just on a different server, much further away. All right. Now I'm going to, so I've started this meeting here, and then I'm going to cut and paste the URL into a little out-of-band chat channel we have over here that you guys can't see. Here we go. All right, so paste. There's that. Ellen. Paste. And Wallace. Paste. Okay. Hi, Michael.
Hi. Oh, good. No.
So, Oh, and here's Ellen.
Hi.
Hey,
Hey, no echo.
that's different.
Your image is also frozen.
Yeah.
My image? Not to me.
That's funny.
You have a very nice smile on.
Michael's
that's
just
good.
disappeared too. The audio to me sounds very different. Like,
It does.
yeah?
Yeah, it sounds very different to me too. It sounds like, let's see, it's way less echoey.
Yep.
But you also sound like we're in some big ugly, acoustic environment.
Yeah, there's no reverb. It's very, very flat.
That's the compression that's kicked in. And now, has Wallace, I sent him the URL. All right, we'll keep going here.
That's so funny, Ellen.
Am I still frozen?
Yeah.
You
Well,
are.
we still don't have your image. It's saying that that you have a low. Yeah, your signal strength is low for some reason.
And yet, on my end, it's
I
now
know.
saying I have a much better connection than I did before.
That's
so
so strange.
Do you
I
want to
think-
cancel and try again
Uh,
for Ellen? Should she?
do you want to leave and come back in, Ellen?
Okay.
Okay. While I text Wallace and see where he is.
Oh, Ellen,
Am
you're
I-
still
Frozen?
same image too.
Wow. Okay. Well, as long as you can hear me, that's all that matters.
Yeah. That's funny. Do you have your
Alright.
your video?
Yeah, everything is as it should be.
Okay, fascinating. It could just be because we're using this commercial platform now. Whoa, that was strange. Let's try a quick jam, just the three of us.
Sure.
Okay. Hi, Wallace. That was actually surprisingly functional. Did you find that?
Yeah, I thought it was better than the previous jam. Partly maybe because of the removal of the echo, but
That's interesting.
it was quite clear. Everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so it just to display that that it's possible to disable. It's possible to use the Jitsi platform and disable all of these audio manipulation factors that are built in to assist with people talking. I'm going to let's add. Oh, what's going on? Oh, that's my microphone cable. So we're going to leave this meeting, and then I'm going to start another meeting. But this time I'm going to disable all of the audio.
All the voice
All the voice
preferable,
preferable audio stuff. Okay. All right. So we're going to leave this, and I'm going to come back in. It's going to be the same meeting, but it'll be disabled. So I'll signal to you in the chat when to return. Okay. All right. Now. Okay. So. It's not going to be the same one. All right, so I have to, in order to do that, I have to, oops, that's the wrong page. I have to tag on to the end of the meeting, this very strange, long, all right, I'm going to just grab this one here. you can't actually put this into the URL box here. You have to stick it in up here, which is really a pain. Okay, so there's this really long URL. You can see it there with all of these. I'm disabling all of these features here. There's some text on that GitHub page that you can cut and paste from. All right, so now we're starting this meeting, and now I've got to send them the URL because it's a different name. Okay, copy. And paste. Okay, hopefully that'll. Okay, here we go. Hi.
Hey,
Yeah. Now you can hear the difference.
no kidding. Now I have the echo.
Aha. Right. So that was that's the echo cancellation disabled.
Oh, yeah, I do a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting a bit of echo, but not the way it was before. It's just one return.
Okay, that's interesting.
Except that in my audio, you sound more echoey.
Really?
I just noticed in Ellen's audio, I heard some sort of a dropout and reduction of quality of the audio
yeah?
as well. So that's a function of the network, the difference in the network. We're now streaming to some server out in the United States. I'll just mention quickly for those who are interested in the technology. This particular platform and many of the platforms use lossy compression, and this one uses an open source codec called Opus. That's really amazing. You can find links in the GitHub page. While we're here at this one, Ellen, why don't you tell us some about your experience with this whole project, and then we'll move on to a meeting in Zoom. Because Ellen has most experience with Zoom, and she's going to set up a Zoom meeting for us.
So I was part of a project during this summer where we set up a lab ensemble with our students. And we used that to test a number of different synchronous platforms. But Zoom is the easiest thing for students to get on. And so it's become really important for us to maximize use of Zoom. So right now I'm leading joining in a Friday evening regular Zoom jam with students. And these are students with varying levels of experience with improvisation. So the things we're getting used to, Zoom as its own space-time, right? So last night, I couldn't hear anybody very well, and other people could hear variably, even though we've all figured out Ethernet connection and reasonable microphones and audio interfaces. So I think the biggest thing is we're just learning how to be confident in our own contributions in that environment. Because the more confident you are and the more committed you are to your playing, the more there is for other people to pick up on. So it's not just technology, it's how you play. And technologically, we're maximizing the audio settings on Zoom. The most recent version has a high fidelity music mode, and like this Jitsi version, you can turn off Zoom's settings that maximize voice interactions. Yeah. So turning off echo cancellation, having the sound route through your interface. What else, Michael? Because Michael's using
sorry,
Zoom.
I
Yeah.
just turned my mic down. Well, I don't know. I'm not the right person to talk about this because we just set our settings. We canceled everything and
Yeah.
don't use the settings that you're using. You're playing around with it a lot more than I am.
Okay. I mean, and this is the thing. Even though there are some like advisable settings, like enabling your on the sound routing through your own microphone, sometimes that's not the best solution for your setup or your circumstance. So you just have to play around with it.
And I think your point about uh, your personal human interaction with the environment is critical. It's like you have to get used to listening in a different way and in inhabiting a different space in order to be able to play with freedom.
Yeah. And you know, right now I'm having to talk through my own echo.
Yeah,
So you just have to decide you're going to do that and slice through it, right?
embrace it. Yeah,
Yeah. And last night when I played flute, it was really hard to hear, so I switched to voice. And then I could do really quiet little things so that I could hear the horns better. Yeah.
adjusting audio levels was the biggest problem that we had in the aux. It took some it took some jiggery pokery to make sure that everybody in the group had adequate listening an adequate listening environment where they could hear each other as well as themselves, because you have to adjust your own level. I mean, we just discovered the before we started the thing that actually Jitsi now has the ability to mix built in, which is really strange. I did not think this is one of the things that the platforms in general don't have. The teleconference is the ability to mix. But I'm streaming here now. I'm pushing down one of the places, and you can see that I can adjust the audio level of I can't adjust my own audio level, but I can adjust the audio level of the other participants. So for me, I can adjust people louder or quieter, which is pretty amazing. Prior to this, that wasn't available. Jack Trip, which is a different thing altogether. That's a different world. Let's move on to Zoom, because it's now 12:30. So we're going to exit this, and Ellen has set up a Zoom meeting for us ahead of time. If you could, Ellen, if you could paste the code or the URL to it into Wallace's, or if you paste it to me, I can paste it to Wallace. That would solve that. I've got the numbers that you sent me through.
Okay. Am I pasting
Messenger.
into your server?
Into the chat, yes.
Into
Yeah.
the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
That chat is not a group chat, right?
I couldn't get the group chat to work.
It's
So,
okay. I'll
yep.
get it from some other way.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay, I've done that.
Okay. We'll see you there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Stanford thing. I wonder
Okay. So now I'm going to hold on. I'm going to get into this meeting.
I wonder how easy it would be for someone
338
to get like Jitsi going.
146. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Okay, great. Like, don't
We'll-
jump ahead
yeah.
of me.
Yeah. Okay. Please wait. The meeting host. Okay. Here we go.
He's just using Zoom
So
right now.
I'm gonna move this. Okay. Join with. Oh, look, my video was off. Ha 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 ha.
And then, so I'm not hearing them coming out the speaker.
Okay, so that means I've got. Hold on a second. I think we have to change the. Yeah, we're gonna have to. Aha. And now? No. No, I'm gonna have to create a scene.
Hang on a second, because I'm not hearing it coming out of the speaker in the room either. So I
That's-
don't think it's a problem in OBS.
I
It might be a problem in Zoom.
hang on. I'm gonna choose a window capture, and I'm gonna choose Zoom. And now, can you turn on original sound?
Okay, may I, please? One moment. Why are you doing a window capture, not a display capture?
Because that will capture the sound, I hope.
So.
No?
It's not coming out of the speaker.
Unbelievable. What the heck is going on? Hi guys. Yes. Now we've done something rather complicated here, and we've left our stream behind. That's very unfortunate. Okay, I think we're going to have to go back to Jitsi, because otherwise
Craig,
Yep.
could you just could I borrow you for a second and we can just try to figure it out? So, they're talking. in
hold on a
Zoom,
second.
And you're hearing them in your headphones just fine.
Yes, I am.
And your headphones are plugged into your duet. Is
Yes.
that right? So, the sound from Zoom is not getting into
Which
the
means
Behringer.
I need to set the Zoom audio preferences. Let's see if that might be the case. Audio. No, it's outputting to the duet.
Okay, so that means that the.
What about the
'Cause remember
input?
The issue with Jitsi, how did we fix that? Got the output from your computer.
Wait now. Wait now. Hang on. Sorry. Where's the input? We need the output should be the built-in output. There. Now. No, it should be. Now it's there, right? No?
You hear us now?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Good.
It was a.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It was a Zoom audio setting issue.
Okay.
Oh God. Thank you, Michelle.
So one thing I've certainly learned in my experiences with this stuff is just how precious people like Michelle are.
Absolutely.
We're able to do this work at Carleton because we've got a fantastic and enthusiastic audio specialist, John Rosefield, who just loves this stuff. And you know, clearly, Craig, you love it too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how many hours you've spent getting your Jitsi running.
I'm happy to share that information. That's why I started that GitHub page, and I intend to supplement that with some instructions and so on. Setting up, just very quickly, technically, setting up the server was relatively straightforward for me because I happen to have a router that has a real internet IP. I also tried to, for the purposes of this workshop, I tried to set up another one in the cloud out in Vancouver, out in Victoria. But the virtual machine that I was running it on did not have a real external IP. It was being what they call NAT, network address translations, whatever. Anyway, it and I couldn't get the server to work. Otherwise, we would have been going through there instead of whatever. But anyway, so it's not trivial. It should be a lot easier than it is, but it's not trivial to set up your own server. So using services like Zoom and the main Jitsi Talk service is kind of critical.
So you don't
Yeah.
need your own server to run
Yeah.
Jitsi.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Yep.
But it helps.
The meeting we just had was on some server in the U.S.
Random server in the
Yep.
States, yeah, I remember
Yep.
saying that.
Yep. Yes, and I'm hosting it. The first meeting we had is being hosted at a secret location here in downtown St. John's. Yes. Yeah.
Another advantage of Zoom is that it's easy for the host to record the meeting, and you have the chat features. So you know, if somebody's having a bit of trouble technically, they have an easy way of interacting with folks, and students are really used to it because we're teaching on Zoom, right? So having something where it's not a huge pain for people to get on is a nice trade-off against the latency and the compression.
If you can, and this is why I chose Jitsi, because it's in a browser. There's no special application you have to set up, and I had to help with Neil Rosenberg and Mac Furlong, who neither of whom are particularly strong technologically. Wallace too doesn't really enjoy it very much. So I wanted tools that would not involve a lot of knowledge. It was still a struggle, but you got to lower that barrier to entry for people to be able to use this stuff. Recording. Before I forget, Jitsi has recording capabilities too. On the US servers, there's a record button, just like there is for here in Zoom, and they have a service that does something very similar. It's technologically heavy. It takes a lot of processing power, which is why I'm not doing that particular service on my server. On my server, I don't run the record facility. Another thing that Jitsi is capable of, though, is what they call local recording, which I have enabled. When you enable local recording, which only the person who started the meeting can do, then each individual's audio gets, that's so cool, each individual's audio gets recorded locally on their machine and recorded at highest quality, recorded in FLAC format, non-lossy and so on. And and if you then take those files, if you can get those files into one location, then you can mix them back and they'll be in sync because they all get started and stopped at the same time. So they're all the same length. It's really kind of cool. So for doing something like what we're doing here now, which is streaming live, well, all bets are off. But if your goal is to record something that you can later mix and maybe later upload as a video itself or something like that, then the local recording is a real option. Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, Zoom recording will do the same thing. You can record on Zoom so that one person is recording, but you get each person's individual channel as a different recording.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's way more sophisticated than the current Jitsi platform. Although Jitsi is just JavaScript, and WebRTC, the underlying technology, is an open platform, and somebody is going to eventually write some JavaScript that's able to do those things. And anyway. There's links to discussions of those technical level stuff in the GitHub page. Why don't we? It's 1:45 now. Why don't we quickly have another jam just to see what Zoom feels like? Have we turned off? I've turned.
Oh yeah. So in your audio settings.
Yeah.
The crucial things when you go to the first page of your audio settings is you want to disable automatically adjust microphone volume. And you want to have suppressed background noise on low.
So I'm going in here. Right.
That'll be under microphone.
Automatically adjust microphone volume, turn that off, right?
Uncheck, and suppressed background noise is low.
Where is that?
That's assuming you have the most recent
low.
version.
Yes, I updated as you suggested. And yeah, okay.
And then go to the advanced.
The advanced down at the bottom there, yes. And there's disable echo cancellation, high fidelity music mode, use stereo audio. That's so cool, right? That's so.
Right, so you can choose the high fidelity music.
we keep the echo cancellation on, or auto.
Do you?
Oh, you.
Or I do.
Auto.
That's interesting.
Because I actually on mine I have an older version. That's why. Because all I have is auto or aggressive.
Right.
That's all we have here too, Mike.
Oh well, I keep it on auto.
So do we.
Okay. That's all.
Okay.
Interesting.
The reason that Mike and I put on these filters and backgrounds too is that I think both in Manusha Carcano and in my work with students, I find that if people want to do that, it can help them feel like they're in Zoom space and not in their bedroom or whatever, right?
They're in virtual reality. Yes, indeed.
Well, it's become also like Manusha's become really visual. People are playing video. They're
There's some versions of Zoom where you can, instead of have just a screenshot in the background, you can have a video running all the time, And then there's other people that are making puppets and having them going on while we're jamming, or changing the lighting, have continually changing lighting. So we're really considering the visual space as well as the audio space when we jam these days on Zoom.
Which certainly matches your whole mixed
Right.
multimedia personality, indeed.
Yes. Should we jam?
Okay. The audio is remarkably good quality. I'm amazed. It's the Zoom people have obviously responded to the need, and they've done a lot of cool stuff to upgrade their platform. Initially, as I understand it, people discovered that there was this turn on original sound thing, and that was all it
Yes.
was. Just that was only 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Yes, they've
and
really
they've really
moved
adapted very
fast.
quickly, which is so awesome. That's very cool.
Just, Ellen, I'm only getting one channel from you.
Are you? And I'm getting two in my earphones. But what I'll tell you is that during the jam, compared to the Jitsi server, I could not hear the rest of you nearly so clearly as I did
That's
on Jitsi.
interesting.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting. And Ellen's been introduced to Jitsi for the first time. She didn't know it existed, so now she has another platform to go out and play with and test. I wouldn't want to leave this kind of a workshop without mentioning two other platforms that are really important for this concept. Zoom and Jitsi and so on, it's kind of, they're there, but the people who've been doing it forever are the Jack Tripp people out at CCRMA in Stanford. They have an awesome setup. It's audio only. But it's full CD quality. That it's not compressed in any way, and it does require a fair bit of network bandwidth. And it used to be very difficult to set up. You had to have control over. It was difficult to do at home. It was an institutional type thing. But there's a project they've become involved with. A group of people who are working to bring accessibility for that platform into the modern world, as it were, make it a lot easier for everybody to use. And so it's something to keep an eye on. And there's also, Michael, if you could tell us more about the history of Manlachar Carcano's process, because that's a completely different approach.
Right. Well, briefly, Manlachar Carcano started back in the mid '80s in Winnipeg as a kind of a Fluxus-style performance art ensemble, and then after about 5 years of being in the same city, the same place, we all moved to different cities in the early '90s, and from that point on, we've been trying to find ways in which we can collaborate distantly, and it wasn't till the late '90s that we discovered radio, and at the time I was living in Peterborough. Another member was in Los Angeles, and the third member is still in Winnipeg. And back in those days, there weren't any computers in the radios. This is campus community radio station. There weren't any computers, and so but we started collaborating by using using a conference call on the on-air phone. And there's a technology that probably is pretty obsolete now called a Gentner, which would take the phone line and separate the send and the receive, so we weren't getting feedback. And so we were just jamming. I had the phone line on the board, and that would be my dominant signal, and I would respond to anything else that I added into the mixer. I would make sure I was responding to the phone line that I was connecting with Winnipeg and Los Angeles. And that's how we started. And usually within about several years, there was an on-air computer, and shortly after that, we moved to Zoom or to Skype, which was a huge increase in the way we collaborated. Although our member in Los Angeles never had very good bandwidth, and so we always still just used the audio feature of Skype. We didn't use video for another 10 years. Not until at that point I'd moved to Guelph. I lived in Guelph for 8 years, and then we moved to St. John's. And when we moved to St. John's, and I moved the show to CHMR in 2010, it was only then that we started actually introducing video to our mix, and it was still Skype. And there occasionally, and it also enabled other people to join us. I mean, I guess we could have done that on this phone call, but I don't think that ever really happened. It wasn't until we were using Skype that more people started participating with Manlachar Carcano. It's a weekly radio show, and then I guess in 2008, 9, I was 15/16, I was in England for a year. Ellen was on sabbatical, and we started pre-recording our show. So we do the jam at the same time as the actual radio show was happening back in St. John's. But we were actually broadcasting the previous week's jam, which we did for the year that I was there. Sometimes we had somebody in St. John's actually being a live host. But then when I came back to St. John's, resumed the live presence in the radio station until moving to Ottawa 2 years ago. And since then, we pre-record everything. We do a Zoom call, again, exactly the same time that our previous show is being broadcast on CHMR, which incidentally is still simulcast on CFRU in Guelph. And it used to be Trent Radio also in Peterborough, but unfortunately that connection has fallen off over time. And so we meet Saturday afternoons religiously, which we've been doing since for 25 plus years, and we jam every Saturday for 2 hours. We've always had a very open policy. We've been, because of our background in kind of performance art, we have really a much more of a conceptual sound or approach to sound, which doesn't, has always been, embracing low fidelity. Sorry, what are you saying? I got a little message in the screen from somebody. Are you trying to interrupt, Ellen?
We're just no, we're just coming up on the end of the.
Get me started, and I won't
think
stop.
yeah, so that might be.
Just
there's a link on the GitHub page to the Manly Carcana website. I just want to ask you, Michael, did you ever use the streaming online radio?
We way back the streaming online radio. I've only used it for art projects. Like I did a installation at the Rooms as part of at one point that had a radio station right in the Rooms, and we were streaming online for that for the several months that shows up. The show was Folklore and Other Panics back in.
Because you can actually use that for online jamming too. There's a protocol called Icecast or Shoutcast. Right. And there are links in the discussion on the GitHub page. You could actually simultaneously, quote unquote, simultaneously have multiple sources stream to an Icecast stream radio station, online radio to an Icecast station, and then you can mix those multiple streams using OBS, which is the other software we need to mention here because we've been using it all day to actually stream this live. Open broadcast software. OBS is a fabulous tool, which we currently use the aux for recording. We just use it for recording because it captures the thing, what we're doing really nicely. But it's also doing streaming, but you can also mix multiple sources, and it gives you mixing facilities. So you can mix multiple online radio streams. But those streams, of course, they have delays of, anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 seconds before the sound that you transmit actually gets sent back from the server. So that's a completely different world of lag from the kind of lag we've been experiencing here today.
And we also, getting back to Manlishire, when I moved to St. John's, there was somebody in Peterborough who was taking our stream off the internet, the Guelph stream, and broadcasting that and jamming along with that. And I would take the Trent stream, come back, sometimes up to a minute delay, which was really cool.
That's exactly. that's what we're talking about here. So the kind of delay that we're experiencing here, where, Ellen, if you want to describe some of the experience of like when you get to maybe half a second, like microseconds is what the so-called 25 microsecond gap is what people say is the kind of the amount of delay that humans can comfortably play music within. But on that sample that you had on SoundCloud, there was up to 60 milliseconds delay, I think. So here we're talking not milliseconds, but multiple seconds, close to minutes in delay. And this comes back to the embrace, right, Ellen?
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You have to just treat the latency as one of the affordances of the medium, right? Instead of trying to replicate the face-to-face in-person medium, you have to treat this as the environment you're in and work with it and everything that it changes about how you interact with stuff. I also wanted to mention that we have a student here at Carleton who set up a Mumble server. So Mumble is video game audio, and it's directional. So that's quite interesting. And also, I have a colleague in the States who was working with screen-based VR with his students.
There are online platforms doing all kinds of stuff. The gaming thing is so cool that the Mumble was designed to be a side channel for people who are playing massively multiplayer online games. So you're in this virtual world, but you're playing as a team, and you need to talk to each other. So they have this separate server that's just audio, and they talk to each other. And of course, because of how fast games happen, that has to be really low latency. And that software, Mumble, uses Opus as well, same as Jitsi and WebRTC. it uses that.
It was easy, relatively easy to get everybody on, and we had excellent low latency.
Yep.
And we used Zoom for video.
Okay.
So we were on Zoom at the same time as we were on Mumble, and then that allows you to sort of zoom back and forth, if you like, if you need to just kind of talk about something or use the chat.
That's kind of how we used it. That we did this here to move from platform to platform. We had an XMPP chat set up where we could send messages back and forth, because you got to have something to keep you going in between. But that's awesome. Mumble plus Zoom. Yeah, that sounds really great. There's a bunch of platforms out there. There's some links on that GitHub page. Before we finish, are there any local questions people want to ask? Is there anything in?
Michael and Ella, they're in Ottawa?
They're in Ottawa.
Okay, and y'all were jamming just like that.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend for the layperson?
For the layperson, I recommend Zoom.
Yeah?
Zoom or Jitsi.
Because it has gotten quite a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah. With
Zoom over Jitsi?
with the latest stuff,
Because didn't Ellen say the echo was worse on Zoom?
you're gonna have to try it.
The echo wasn't worse for me on Zoom. I couldn't hear as well.
Right, okay.
But I've had better experiences on Zoom as well. So.
Yeah.
Copy.
It's quite variable. It depends on the bandwidth. It depends on the internet weather.
Cool, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And like
So-
if your
The
daughter
connection.
is in your house, like streaming YouTube live and twitching and stuff.
Exactly. If you're on Wi-Fi, forget it.
Yeah.
If you're on Wi-Fi, not forget it, because that's not true. Because we've had jams where Wi-Fi works. Jack Trip. It's hard to do on Wi-Fi because it's full audio quality, right? Full city audio quality.
Yeah.
When you're using a compressed stream, Wi-Fi can work. But if you're on a Wi-Fi with 3 other people in your house and they're doing other things, then it's going to be a lot harder. Yeah, because it's a shared bandwidth. Whereas when you're switched, you have some dedicated bandwidth. Anyway, were there any questions online? Probably not. Nope.
We have a
Good.
couple of people watching.
Okay. Ellen, do you want to summarize for us and then we'll say goodbye?
Sure. Zoom is easy. You have to live with latency always when you're working online, no matter what the program. Playing with both the visual and the audio capabilities is a really fun thing to do. And another really cool thing you can do on Zoom is you can rename yourself. So last night in our group jam with 7 people, we had half the people designated as Group A, half the group designated as Group B, and we also gave everybody a number. And that meant that we could use conduction, like Christine Duncan style conducting kind of things. So there's lots of ways you can organize. And I want to also just recommend checking out NowNet Arts in the United States, Sarah Weaver's project, which was always, up until now, very high-end network music performance. But during the pandemic, she pivoted to Zoom to make it more accessible. So they've just worked out ways to have the best quality experience possible for the players, and they're organizing pieces using conducting as well. So they've been doing very regular concerts. NowNet Arts.
If you send me that URL, I'll add
I
it
will.
to the GitHub page.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Michael, you want to say something, or shall we just call it? a day?
I will just plug Manlish Carcano Radio Hour. Not only can you hear it broadcast over the airwaves in St. John's on CHMR every Saturday from what time is it there? I think it's 4 till 6 in St. John's. Yes, but you can also, of course, listen. If you're not in St. John's, you can listen to it online. You can also, we've been posting videos each week. If you go to the Manlish Carcano website, Blogspot, you'll get videos of because of the visual component. But further to that, anybody who wants to do this is invited to join the jam. We have a completely open policy, so if anybody is really missing it in these times, come and jam any Saturday you want. Just send, again, I think you could send me, if anybody, send me a request and we put you on the Zoom link to the show, and then that would come every week. You can join the jam.
Plus, you get a
Very
very
cool.
cool Manlisher name.
Yeah, everybody has a pseudonym in Manchester.
Right.
Ellen Wheels, like Hell on Wheels in French.
All right. Thank you very much, Ellen Waterman, Michael Waterman, Wallace Hammond, and thank you very much, Michelle Lecoeur, and thank you, Lanya Vanya, for this awesome festival and an opportunity to do this workshop, and thank you, the Sound Symposium, for co-presenting this workshop. All right.
It's lovely
Super
to
nice to
be
play with y'all.
even
So
virtually
long,
back
folks.
in St.
Yes,
John's.
it's been so nice. Okay.